It's Sunday night, and this is the Conjugal Visit on KGFRocks.com.
Yeah, Conjugal Visit. Conjugal Visit on 6/4/2017. Welcome to the show. Hope everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend. I know I did. Did you have a good Memorial Day weekend, Guido?
I did.
You
No, that
did?
was last week Memorial Day weekend, not this weekend, turd.
Yeah, that's what I said last week. You turd? Who do you call a turd?
Did I call you a turd?
You called me a turd, man. I have to take offense to that, dude.
I thought I called you a returd.
A returd?
Yeah.
I see how you are.
You know, it's like a returd is when you're turd and then you're done and then, oh shit, I got a returd.
Yeah, a returd.
Like, you know, like the dingleberries.
Right.
Which is, damn, it's a problem. Especially when they dry up and you rip it, hair comes out.
Right.
What were those things in the Mexicans' cart? Dingo balls, right?
Dingo balls, yes.
Dingo balls. Did you ever have any of them?
Dingo balls? No, never had any of those. I've had mountain oysters.
I'm going to ask Mama Guido. Hey, did your dad have any dingo balls in his car? Yeah, her dad did. He was Mexican.
Yeah.
No, she said her white dad had them.
Oh, her white daddy had them.
Yeah, she had a few.
Yeah. Did she had a few daddies?
Our mom was married 6 times.
No way. We got to get her on the fucking show. I got to talk to her.
Who, her mom or my wife?
Her mom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I know. Last time she got married, I said I was going to send the invitation out with all her last names. She didn't like that.
Oh, brutal. Brutal. She's been married more than Marilyn Monroe.
And she's getting married again.
Right?
So, it's all right. But you know what? It's like me. I'm doing it once. If this one fails, then I'm just going to be a bachelor.
That's it, right?
You've already done it twice, so.
Yeah, this is my second marriage.
Yeah, and you know, you say some pretty colorful things about the first marriage.
Oh, well, no, it was not pretty. Well, you know what? I gotta say, that it wasn't half bad for the first, 5 or 6 years. I mean, it was pretty cool.
Right.
But after the kids were born, and it just seemed like every time we were getting on top of things and getting things together, one of us would do something stupid to fuck it all up.
Right. Well, that's that's the problem too when you get married too young. Sometimes too, you fuck up, and I don't know, but I think you find your true soulmate once. That's it.
Right. Oh, I found mine now. Finally.
Right. You never know when you're gonna, but right. I'm just saying you can only find it once, and I know I found mine 24 years ago, so I'm cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's always good. I mean, the hardest time, I think, for a marriage, and I could be wrong about this, but I think I'm right, is when the last kid moves out or is getting ready to. That is the hardest time for when a marriage can get into trouble.
I don't know, because I still got 3 out of 4 living at my house, so I don't know if I'll ever fucking know what that feels like.
You don't know you'll never know what an empty nester is like.
No,
right?
I don't. Because my son's 24, but he really never lived with me. He lived with his mom. And then my daughter, she's she's going to be 21. She ain't going nowhere.
Right.
She's not stupid. And then the other two are young, so it's like, yeah, by the time the last one gets there, she's, like not even a teenager yet. So, I mean, we'll be fucking maybe another 20 years, maybe 10 years, 15 years before we had an empty nest.
Right.
And maybe never, because my mom just got rid of my brother about 2 years ago. So, it can happen. And then, and sometimes they move back. Your son moved in back for a while to, right? I mean, sometimes they have to come back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, the kids never, when my kids moved out, okay, I guess I did something right in my marriage by raising my kids to be independent and being, I don't need dad, I don't need mom, I got this shit, I got it.
Or was it just
that's important? I think it's important.
Or was it just fuck? Those people are so crazy. I'm gonna make it on my own.
Yeah. Well, yeah, yeah, because they don't want to live with dad. I mean, I'm just this this old fart that I couldn't do it anymore. When my youngest moved out, I told him, I sat him down and I gave him the talk and I told him, I said, dude, this is it. When you move out, no matter how this thing works out with this chick that you're moving in with, he ended up marrying her and having 2 kids with her.
Right.
But at the same time, I said, if it doesn't work out, you're going to have to find a place, dude. And it ain't going to be here because I don't have the room for you. There's no room at the inn for you. I love you.
He was taking over the studio.
Yeah, I mean, he as a matter of fact, yeah, that was a big part of it. But no, it was like, dude, this is it, man. This is it. You're on your own. I love you, but this is it. Now, if there was a catastrophe, a huge incident where he got injured severely, I'd be there for him in a minute.
Oh, I know you would. And you're also a softie at heart, so if he really did need a place to stay, you would, and you would.
Well, it would be a week, but that would be
right. No, I'm just saying, you wouldn't just leave him high and dry, or you would help him somehow. That's what we all would do. I would do the same thing. I was estranged with my son for many, many years, and now he's back in my life, and I try to help him as much as I can, and he knows he can come to me now, but I can't, again, go and leave myself short or something.
Yeah,
I mean, I have to take care of myself too, and that's what adult children sometimes. Early 20s is tough for anybody because you are not a kid anymore, but you really don't know how it is to be an adult yet.
Right. That's true.
So it's a tough thing, and that's where most mistakes happen in one's life. I think is in those early 20 years.
Right. Yeah.
And not for everybody, but the mistakes usually happen then.
Yeah, well, no, but some people like a lot of people, a lot of movie stars and actors and stuff, they may make mistakes that end their career.
True.
And the big mistake that we make as we're growing up is we don't, when we're really young, we don't think about the future, man. We think where's the party this week? Who am I going to be with?
But that's the way society's always, made it believe. Like even back in the 60s, look at that one song by the Grassroots, Let's Live for Today. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about yesterday.
Yeah.
And
today.
Right. So, I mean, then there's other songs like that in movies and shows. That's what everybody tells you is live
for today.
And you could do that, but if you don't set yourself up for a future, you're not going to have a future.
Well, you're going to set yourself up for failure.
Right. And, you do. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't because, damn it, I screwed up so much in my 20s. I didn't go to college when I should have. I did this. I did that. I didn't, stay in the military. I mean, there's so many things I say, I should have done this. I should have done that. But I don't know if I'm any better off, like mentally, physically, or whatever, from not doing that. Maybe physically, because I am a fat piece of shit now. But
right.
I would have been. I would have been in shape.
You've lost a lot of weight. You're not a fat piece of shit.
No, I'm not. But I'm saying if I was still in the military, shit, I'd be. Well, fuck, if I was still in the military, I'm 42. I would have been retired with the full pension right now.
Right.
Or dead,
Oh
because I'd
yeah.
been in Iraq or something.
Oh yeah.
You know?
No, I kick myself every day for getting out of the Navy. I should have stayed in for life. I'd have been
Right.
set. I would have retired from the Navy in 1995.
Yeah,
That's
and
when
all
I
you
would
gotta
have
do is
retired.
20 years, man. So I would
20
have.
years.
I went in when I was 18. So when I was 38, I could have been fully retired,
Yeah,
get a full
at
pension,
38.
and still work, because that pension, the military pension, is not like, it's not like, your Social Security. You only get half of it if you're still working. Not your money,
No,
dude. You get it.
you
You know.
get it all. You get it
Yeah.
all, and it's amazing. Even if it's like you can get up to 100% of your, and if you get disabled while you're in the service, oh my God, the benefits are just unreal.
And it should be, though. I mean, anybody that gives 20 years of service to our armed services deserves all.
Oh
that
yeah,
shit. They
definitely,
do.
definitely do.
I think that anybody that gives any time, even if you give 2 years, 4 years, 8 years, whatever, if you fulfill your commitment, you should get something at your retirement age, at least extra.
Right.
That should count as extra, because we have a 100%
to be
volunteer
honest,
army.
It's not right now, but especially while you're working.
Right.
If you're working and receiving your pension from the military, your veteran pension, you have to pay taxes on that money.
Right. If you're working.
If you're working, okay.
Right,
But if
right.
you're not working, you don't have to. I believe that money should be tax free.
It should be tax free no matter what, because it's the pension that it was paid on your behalf.
Correct.
Just like a pension that you would get at your non-government job, a private sector job. They shouldn't be able to do anything with that, even if you are working and
True.
you did your 11, 10, 20, whatever the vestment time is for your company. You should get that regardless, and you shouldn't have to wait until you're 65 or 70 or whatever.
Right. That's true.
I mean, if I decide, say you worked your whole life and you got a pension, and I worked at a place since I was 25 and now I'm 50, I'm going to try to retire at 50 now.
Right.
I should be able to get the full pension that I paid into for 25 years. And still, I mean, I don't know, you couldn't get your Social Security, but shit, I want my full pension that I paid 25 years into. I don't want to wait till I'm 65, because by that time, I may not be able to enjoy it anymore.
Yep.
I mean, let's face it, you can do more things at 50 than you can do at 65.
That's true. That's true.
We work too long, I think, is, you get to, now the Social Security age is like 67, 68. What the fuck is that? That's ridiculous.
Right.
You got to stop working and then apply to the nursing home, for Christ's sakes.
That's true.
It's bullshit.
Yeah. It is bullshit. You can't depend on the military for all of it. But if you were an officer in the military, you are set for life.
But you shouldn't be. That's the thing where I think I hate, because an officer, okay, you went to school, good for you, you became an officer. You
Right.
should not get any special treatment when you retire, because those enlisted men are the real ones protecting us. They officers have a part in it too. I'm not saying they don't. They're
Right.
the leaders. And
It should be the same.
Right, it should be the same, because everybody's life was at risk. You know
Right.
what I mean? In a situation, even if you didn't go to war at all, everybody's job in the military is still as important as the next. And just like this, if everybody went to school and joined the military educated, you wouldn't have any soldiers. Everybody would be officers. So then what would get done?
True.
So you need everybody, just like in a company. You need the floor washers and the executives. They all have a place in a business.
Yeah, that is true.
So
That is
I was
true.
thinking, if we picked a name for us, like on a band, like that's who you are. Like, say you would say, if you were say you coughed a lot and wheezed, you would be called like the band Weezer. Yeah.
Yeah, but they had great songs, man. They had Hash Pipe.
Weezer's one of my favorite bands ever.
They did Hash Pipe, man. That's one of my favorite fucking bands of all time.
Yeah, and they are just a bunch of they're college educated kids. They all met in college and stuff, and they were in the 80s, they were a glam band like Poison and all those bands, and they never made it.
Right.
And then when the 90s came, they just started playing that music because that's what everybody else was playing, not because they wanted to. And I guess they were better at it than most. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
So their writing's very like adult type. It's very like educated writing. You can tell it. It's got substance and meaning. It's not just a bunch of thoughts or words on a page. It's actually tells like a story as quick as it can in 3 minutes. So I like their writing.
Go ahead. I got my head.
Now that my segue totally got destroyed. But anyways.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I said, speaking of great songwriters and rock stars and icons, we lost another good one.
Oh, yes, we did.
Mr. Greg Allman now. Now both Allman brothers are gone.
Yeah.
Greg and Dwayne are both gone. Powerhouses, if you will, in not just the Southern rock, which they actually were one of the starters, the innovators of the Southern rock movement. They were, and they won't say they were Southern rock, but they were blues rock to them. But no, they were Southern rock those first few albums, and they helped influence bands like Leonard Skinner and stuff.
Right.
And I always thought that Greg Allman had the most unusual rock voice of all time.
Yeah.
Unusual. I mean, not bad. Great. I love it. But it was nothing like that at that time. A lot of times people think that he's black almost. That he's even black, like a black man.
That's how deep he was. I mean, that's how soulful he was.
Very soulful. And I think, and he also had his share of the ladies, man. He was with Cher, He was, I'm sure with a lot of hot women, but that's the only one I remember.
He was married to a few. I think he was married 3 times, wasn't he?
Yeah, something like that. And his kids are, pretty artistic themselves. His son, Elijah Blue Allman, which is his son with Cher, was in a band called Dead Sea, and his daughter, which I can't remember her name, is in a new rock band right now called Picture Me Broken, which is a up and rising rock band that we do play on our station. But he also, the thing I liked about Greg Allman was he was the first rock and roll guy that I ever seen with a bunch of tattoos.
Now, you got to hold on. Sit down for a second. I just pulled him up. Okay? I just pulled him up, and he's been married 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times.
Married 7 times.
Married 7 times. Cher was his his third wife.
Wow.
And it lasted 4 years. 75.
I hope he had fucking good lawyers. Yeah, you know who she went with after she left him?
Who?
Gene Simmons.
Gene Simmons, yeah.
Yep. And then in the 80s, she was dating Richie Sambora from Bon Jovi. She got around.
She was a rock slut. She was a rock slut. She was more of a groupie than she was an artist, I think.
I think so, because she jumped out of Greg Allman's bed
I got to be honest. She's 70 now, man. I'd still do her.
Really?
Yeah, I'd do her. I'd still do her.
That thing's got to be wrinkled as a fucking...
she's tight as a fucking... She's tight.
She can't... How could she be tight? She's had everything, every rock star up in there.
No, I'm talking not tight there. I mean her body is still in good shape.
Well, of course, because if I went and got plastic surgery every 8 days, I would be fucking tight too.
Hey, she works out, man. She works hard to keep that figure, man.
Yeah, I don't care. She's 70 years old. I don't want to boink her. That's right. You like granny panties, so that's cool.
But she wouldn't wear granny panties. She'd be wearing a thong.
Yeah, she would. No, I never found her sexy, and I don't know why. Everybody thinks she's so gorgeous in this.
Well, I 2 summers ago, I went to see the Devin Allman Band in Illinois. I went over to Illinois and saw him, and he, our good friend Lyndon Sickmeyer played there. Also, he opened for the show. And also, who was there was, Take Me Home Tonight.
Eddie Money.
Eddie Money. Okay, he closed the show. and Devin did his show, which was really a great show. He did
Right.
Soul Shine. He did a couple of his dad's classics, and then when he got off stage, he was backstage, and I said, "Hey, Devin, how's your dad?" And he looked over at me. He said, "He's doing pretty good, man." And then he came over and he talked to me for a few minutes. And he's I just looked him up today, as a matter of fact, and he's got a new album coming out.
Right.
I wonder if he's going to do a tribute to his dad. I'm just kind of curious about that.
I think all his kids will. I mean, like I said, all his kids are in the music business. Maybe they'll get together and do something like an Allman family thing, you know?
Yeah, the Allman family. That would be
Right.
neat.
Yeah,
That
I
would
think
be
that would be
very
real
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, his daughter right now is a pretty popular rock star,
Right.
and his other son used to be, I don't know if he used to be or still is, he was in a pretty famous rock band too, so
Right.
why not, you know, do
Hey,
the Allman family.
Why not? Hey, you know, Devin looks just like him.
Does he? Yeah.
Oh yeah, he looks just like him, and he's a great musician, and he's got a good voice. He's not his dad. I'll say that.
No.
He's definitely not his dad.
See, that's one thing is you can never. I think that's so unfair to compare a child's voice, you know, their voice to their father's voice. Even like if you listen to it, like people say, "Oh, Julian Lennon," but John Lennon. Well, but yeah, because that's the person was an innovative, one of a kind. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Well,
but
I think when he did his first album, what was that album? Help me out, man. Help me out with this.
laid back.
Yeah, laid back. When he did his first album, he sounded like his balls hadn't dropped yet. Julian Lennon. It just sounded like he was still in child mode. His latest album, which I listened to a couple songs of, it isn't great, but it's good. Okay,
Right.
and it's Julian Lennon. What can you say? And I thought it was okay. Okay,
Right.
but his voice is nothing like John's. He doesn't
Right.
sound anything like John. But Devin sounds a little bit like his dad, but I don't think he can carry it like his dad
Well,
did.
you know, like let's say Jacob Dylan from the Wallflowers doesn't sound anything like his dad, and that's a good,
No, you can understand. Yeah,
and that's a good thing.
You can understand every fucking word that comes out of it. The Wallflowers was awesome.
Yeah,
That-
so now
that-
I'm looking at Greg Allman, and he has 5 children. That's not bad. 6 or 7 marriages and only 5 children. Well,
Right.
his first son, Michael Sean Allman, born in '66. He's not a musician, but his son Devin, he's the singer of Honey Tribe. His son Elijah is the lead singer of Dead Sea. His daughter Delilah, she's not in bands, but his daughter Layla Brooklyn Allman is the lead singer of Picture Me Broken, and he's with a relationship from radio journalist Shelby Blackburn. So all his kids are from different women. His first child's from Mary Lynn Green, then Shelby Jeffs, then Cher, Julie Vindas, and then this publicist. So it looks like one of his wives didn't get any kids.
yeah, yeah. Well, this latest one, he married in 2017. Shannon Williams.
Yeah,
He didn't get married till right before he passed away. So
Shit, she's lucky then.
Hey, he looks like he looked like shit the last time I saw him. And,
I'm saying she's lucky because she married him right before he died.
right.
That means she can get money.
Well, yeah, she can get money, but I don't think that's what it's for, man. I'm not going to say.
Really?
I don't think that there's going to be a controversy.
Was she 70?
Unless he owed a shitload of back pay for child support or something. I mean, I think he'll be okay. I think the money will go to the kids. I think she already knew that.
How much do you think he's worth?
I'm not sure. How much was he worth?
He was only worth $15 million.
Yeah.
I would think he was worth a lot more than that. That's weird.
He hasn't done anything in years, dude.
Yeah, and they weren't like high in the charts and stuff like that. They were more or less great band, but they were more or less of a touring band, and like how the Grateful Dead was.
Well, he's had for the last 17, 20 years, he's had health problems.
Right.
That's why he died. He had a kidney transplant or something?
I think so.
Yeah, and it went bad.
All right, we're going to go through right now just because I have it up, and we can tell the world. Do you want to know who the 25 richest rock stars are?
Okay, go ahead. Knock us out, man.
All right, at number 25 is Lars Ulrich from Metallica, drummer, $200 million.
Jesus Christ, that much money.
Number Billy Joel with $210 million.
Okay.
The whole band of Fish, I don't know why that's weird, they're worth $200 million. Ozzy Osbourne, at number 21, $220 million.
Wow.
David Bowie at 20 with $230 million. Benny Anderson, you know who that is?
Refresh my memory.
Benny Anderson is the lead writer and producer of ABBA.
Oh, really? He's worth that much money?
$230 million.
Jesus Christ.
18, Rod Stewart, $235 million. 17, Eric Clapton, $250 million. Dave Grohl, $250 million. Phil Collins, $250 million. Roger Waters from Pink Floyd, $270. Bruce Springsteen, $300. Gene Simmons of Kiss, $300, as well as Ringo Starr, $300. Keith Richards at $340 million, and then Mick Jagger at $360 million. All right, here is a. Hold on, let me go back here. Yes, yeah, okay. So where was I now? Who was the last one did I say? You remember?
Mick Jagger.
That's right. Yeah, I lost my page. The internet. Jesus. Yeah. Okay, so Mick Jagger was there. All right, let's go back to Mick Jagger. So then comes in at 6. This is a surprise one. All those Billy Joel, Mick Jagger, all those guys. And number 6 with $400 million is the parrot head Jimmy Buffett.
Oh, really?
The parrot head Jimmy Buffett. Yes. At number 5 is Sir Elton John with $450 million. At number 4 is Bono with $600 million. At number 3, this is so strange. Number 3, John Lennon, $800 million. Number 2, who used to be number 1, is Sir Paul McCartney at $1.2 billion. Now, I can't believe this guy. He overtook the number 1 spot with an estimated net worth of $1.4 billion. It's former Police singer Sting is the richest rock star of all time.
And with that, cue right into Roxanne. This is KGFRocks.com. You're listening to The Conjugal Visits. We'll be right back for a fucking segue.
Yeah. Oh, it's a Subway? I like Subway.
Roxanne. What movie helped make that song famous?
Oh, my God, 48 Hours.
48 Hours. I loved it when he was in the jail cell. Roxanne. What an asshole.
And now Eddie Murphy used to pack the fucking movie theaters. Now people, right. Okay, it's Eddie Murphy. Well, no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Roger Waters was just here in town.
Uh-huh.
And, boy, it got terrible reviews.
Yeah, I heard that. And, I'm surprised because I was actually looking forward to him coming here to New York.
Yeah, well, he is just totally. He's like Black Lives Matter, man. He's got a pig that floats around the audience with Donald Trump's face on it, and Jesus. The word "pig" written across the side of the pig, and a number of other things. And it just boggles the mind.
It does. And leave your political bullshit at home. If you're just going out on tour, there's nothing you're going to do. He's the president of the United States of America. You putting his face on a pig or you fake beheading him is not going to make him say, "Oh, I quit being the president now."
Yeah, you're not going to get him to quit.
Right.
You're not going to get him to quit.
The bullshit. And furthermore, rather Roger Waters to come out of retirement to go on a tour to gain money to bash somebody. Yeah. Go fuck yourself. Now I'm pissed.
Now you're pissed. Yeah.
Right.
And you think about it, man. If you think about it, the fucker, he comes and he lives in the United States.
Right.
So that he doesn't have to pay those exorbitant taxes.
The luxury taxes in England, yeah.
In England. And so he just He's just slapping what do you call it? Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah, maybe he should get deported. Maybe he should be one of the deportees.
Well, you never know, man, because I'll tell you what. That's kind of nasty. And then this thing with Kathy Griffin.
Oh, she's a cunt.
To turn this shit around and put it on the family that is in the White House.
Donald Trump, he does often say things that he shouldn't, but in one of the tweets it said, Kathy Griffin, it says we're ruining her career. And he said, I didn't know you had a career.
Yeah.
Like, I don't either, because the only thing I ever see her on is maybe a roast or a stupid award show or something where she's a presenter.
Well, now she's done.
Yeah.
She's done now. Nobody wants her. Nobody wants that pig in there. And now she's going to blame it on Donald Trump.
Right, they're both her.
It makes no fucking sense. He broke me.
I'll
break your ass.
His 11-year-old son picture looks like his father being killed by terrorists, and they broke you. You should be ashamed of yourself as a parent. She's a parent. She should be ashamed of herself.
That was a propaganda poster for ISIS. That's exactly the way I looked at that poster. Well, it was a poster. That was an ISIS propaganda poster. And I'll tell you what, man. That's treasonous.
Well, you know what, too? And it's backfiring on her because her liberal friends like CNN already fired her.
Yeah.
Because she did their New Year's Eve show every year. Right. And nobody supporting her. Even I think it was Chelsea Clinton came out with a tweet saying that she was wrong to do that. And that's a Clinton. Yeah. So she's losing. She's nobody.
Barack Obama said there's no room for that in America.
Right, and
even
nobody.
Barack Obama, who hates Donald Trump.
Sure,
he hates
because
the man.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody that is anti-Trump is making sure that they say something about that because they don't want to be associated with
that kind of behavior.
With that kind of behavior, and even within their mind, they're probably high-fiving her or behind the scenes, but publicly they have to say that.
Right. They have to come out and condemn it. Well, what needs to be done, as far as I'm concerned, is she needs to be blackballed completely, and that would show people that not just the right wingers in Hollywood get blackballed, even the liberals who step over that line can be destroyed.
Well, she is feeling the effect because then she. Some casino that hired her for some shows canceled all her shows.
5 shows.
5 shows, and then CNN fired her. And, it's going to be a while before she gets any work because this is going to have to totally blow over.
Oh, yeah.
And if I know Donald Trump, he's not going to allow it to die. He's going to keep it in the public eye because that's what he does. And you know what? You deserve that because you did something stupid. You
attacked him personally.
In the behind-the-scenes footage of the filming of that ad campaign, she said that, this is going to ruin our careers. She knew
she knew
it was wrong, and she still did.
Yeah, and I'll notice one thing. It has had a good benefit.
Yeah, what's that?
The networks, MSNBC, CNN, and all these networks that are really after him, have lightened up over the last 48 hours.
Sure, and that'll pick back up again, but
it will.
But
will.
You're right. And
for right
that's
now,
all
though,
he needs.
They're backing off, man.
It worked in his favor because he needs a couple days reprieve of the propaganda against him.
Yeah.
I never see any good talk about him, and I'm not saying he's perfect. He's the best president we ever had because he's far from any of that. But he hasn't done as many things wrong as other people have done, and they don't even say things. They would never even mention these little things that the other presidents.
We need another enema in this country. Is what we need. And another slap on the face. Another step towards reality. Another wake-up call in this fucking country.
Well, you know what? When Bush's approval rating was down, September 11th happened, and they went way up. So,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We need a catastrophe to happen. California needs to fall off into the ocean. We need to be attacked with a nuclear bomb or a dirty bomb, because that's what's coming. That's what's coming. And
You sound like Rush Limbaugh now.
well, no, I don't mean it that way. I don't want these things to happen, but we need it because
We should get him on the show.
Who, Rush Limbaugh?
Yeah.
He's related to my wife. He's a third cousin of my wife.
Do they know each other?
Yeah.
We should get him on the show.
Rush Limbaugh? I don't want Rush Limbaugh on the show.
Why?
Because Rush Limbaugh's a douchebag.
That's why he's good.
He's
for
the
it.
most wishy-washy conservative I've ever met in my life. I've ever had.
Oh, he is.
I've seen him live. I've seen him do shows. He's done a show here in St. Louis where he got up on stage and he was talking about how he's anti-left, okay, and he's talking about politics and things like that. So I'm not really a big fan of his. Who I'd like to really, my dream interview would be with Bill O'Reilly. I'd like to know what he's doing. I'd like to know if these allegations about him were true or if
he don't care if they are true or not because he just got $35 million to walk away.
Yeah, to walk away. He's so fucking rich. I'd love to, I'd love to talk to him and find out, what he's thinking and find out what's going on.
He's not thinking. He's still a perv, and he's still gonna,
You think he's a perv? Come on.
Yeah. So what if he is? That's his business. But
he's a womanizing prick. He's no better than Bill fucking Clinton.
And he's worth $100 million. Okay,
he's worth a lot of fucking money. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So I mean, his annual salary was $20 million. I mean, so if he did that, bad, shame on him. I'm not condoning that,
right.
But he didn't really get punished. Okay, yeah, he doesn't have a job, but he got all that money just to go away.
Oh yeah, it was a hit.
Okay.
It was a big hit, and it's still a big hit. I mean, you leave a network that you helped to build to be the number one, and he had the number one show on cable television as far as political views, and he was an icon for Fox News.
Well, what if it was a setup?
I think it was a setup. I think he's going to end up going on to NBC or possibly even HBO.
Yeah, but he can't go anywhere until this blows over.
Right,
so,
and it will. It will blow over.
It will.
I mean, he could he could say tomorrow, "I'm retiring. I'm done."
Right. He could,
or he could write a column. So he's still doing editorial work. So I'm sure.
He's not going to be out of a job. It's not like Bill O'Reilly's done. He's done for a little while. He made his $30 million, which he would have made $20 million this year anyways for doing the whole year of the O'Reilly Factor.
Right.
So now he has $30 million and the whole year to decide what he wants to do.
That's right. He can take a break for a while.
Right. Yeah, and I don't think his career is dead. His career is not as dead as Kathy Griffin's career is. I mean, she's toast. She should just go get a job at the gas station Mobil or something because she's done. And I mean, it was very stupid thing to do. I know a lot of celebrities that didn't like Obama, but I never seen one of them do anything like that. And if they did, they would have been ridiculed as racist. They would have been terrorists. They would have been whatever. But the backlash against her is not as harsh.
Oh no, this is harsh.
Right.
She is taking a beating.
Well, she's taking a beat in her financial and her career. But she's not taking a beating of people talking, trashing her so much.
Oh, I'm sure she's had. I tell you what, I bet she's had death threats.
Maybe.
I can almost guarantee.
I haven't followed it since it happened because it really just fucking just pissed me the fuck off.
She must have got high when she thought about that.
I don't know. I mean, it's just so stupid. Like the same thing with Madonna when she said she wants to blow the White House up. The CIA should have been arresting her at.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but I'd like to see the White House blown up. Fuck you, bitch.
And that's just dumb. It's stupid. It's you are a fucking celebrity who people look up to. Use your power better than that. Don't cheapen yourself and make yourself
when she first came up, I was a fan. I was a fan of Madonna. I thought she was great.
Oh,
I
me
thought
too.
She was awesome. She's a hell of an actress. She can act, but she needs to stick to that and stop with the the hatred towards an individual. I think hatred towards an individual is just as bad as hatred towards a race or a gender.
Oh, you shouldn't hate a person. Okay?
You shouldn't hate anyone.
You could hate what they stand for or whatever, because it's your choice as an American citizen not to agree with somebody else's idea. You don't have to, but to hate them and to death threat almost to them, that's bullshit.
That's crazy.
Mock them out. Go ahead. I don't care. I laugh at some of the things that they say about Trump. It's so almost so true. It's freaking funny as hell. Okay, right. I can laugh at that stuff. But when you do something like this, or when they were freaking talking shit about his son, saying he looks like he had autism or something, whatever they were saying, they were talking. Stop that bullshit. That's not fair.
Enough is enough.
That 11-year-old kid did not ask to be the president's son. He didn't ask to be Donald Trump's son. He didn't. What I mean? He's a little kid. Leave him the fuck alone. And I hate.
And nobody went after Obama's kids, did they?
No, nobody.
I'll say one thing about Obama. He got an A+ to keep his family out of the press.
Yeah.
He did an A+ to keep his family out of the press.
Because he controlled it. The press.
Yeah, he was smarter than that. I think Trump holds his kids too close to the cuff. I think he needs to get all of his kids out of the.
No, Trump. See, I don't think that. I think you're right, but I think what he is he's proud of the way he raised his children. They're fucking independent people. They don't need anybody. They go and they're progressive, and that's what he I want to say trained them at. That's what he raised them as. So I think he's proud of them, and they're adults, most of them, except for Barron. The rest of them are all adults. The youngest other one is 19, so they can make their own choices too.
Right.
So I mean, the other ones, if you want to talk shit about them, they're old enough to be able to talk shit back to you. But leave the little boy alone. That should be not on the table at all. You should feel like a big asshole if you make fun of an 11-year-old child.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're doing it as a kid in a way, because he's a cute kid in this and you make fun of him or whatever, it's one thing. But if you're talking stupid shit saying he looks retarded or he has autism or whatever, even if he did, that's none of your fucking business.
Yeah, it's none of your fucking business.
I mean, it's just stupid, and it goes to show you that the people that say all lives matter and this and that, I guess it don't when you don't win.
That's true.
Because that's the way it is now. Before they were all love, peace, this, that. Now Trump won, and they want to start riots and talk shit and behead people and all this. Wow, true colors came out quick.
Yeah.
And it's a great eye-opener for America to see all those ones that are just in the middle that really care about America and don't know which way to lean, to the left or to the right. I think now we know,
That's right.
So it's all, it's crazy. This whole world has become crazy lately. It's like, I don't know what's going on, but everywhere there's shit crazy happening, like in Europe with Brexit, the European Union being pretty much dismantled now because one left. Who's going to leave next, and
France is next. France
is next, right? And then the France Accord now that Trump backed out of. I mean, there's a lot of shit going on in the world.
That's true. There is there's a lot of shit. And he got out. I agree with what he did.
I do too.
I just don't think he sold it very well.
Well, you know what? It is what it is. There's nothing to me. I think climate. Global warming is a bunch of bullshit. I really do. That's my personal opinion. I believe it's a bunch of bullshit. Al Gore said back in the 90s, he said by 2008 we'll be this and that, blah, blah, blah. Well, he was so wrong, and they just make shit up sometimes, I think.
Yeah. Well, you're right. You're right. I mean, and they make shit up. You read these stories about how the United States has. Now, how can we be reducing our output of CO2 by 150 million pounds per day
We're not.
No, it ain't happening.
It's just somebody said, okay, this is the number. There's no way to calculate if that's the truth or not. And you know what? The ozone layer is not being depleted by global warming. I remember it was the chlorofloor. You couldn't have the McDonald's had to change their fucking styrofoam and this and that, and it's just like, how do you people know all this shit? Really? How do you know?
They know. Trust me, they know.
I don't think so, man. I think becoming like a scientist or something is like a license to lie.
To be honest with you, man, I'm looking forward to the next presidential campaign.
Why?
I really am, because a lot of things are going to change between now and then.
Yeah,
and
I don't think Trump's going to run again, even if he is this.
I don't think he is. Nope, I don't think he is. I think Pence is going to run and take over, and I think he's going to follow it up.
And it's not because Donald Trump was going to be a bad president. I just think he's one and done. He did what he wanted to do, and he don't need to show you he can do it anymore.
Right.
So that's what I think, and he'll enjoy the rest of his life. He is going to be 74 by the time the next election comes.
Right.
He's going to stay in the White House till he's almost 80. I don't think so. No. And so I think he's one and done, and I think you're right. Mike Pence will definitely be a good candidate to be the next president, and I don't know on the other side. They got a lot of problems on the Democrat side.
Oh, they're huge problems. They got.
I heard might run again. I heard of Michelle Obama, but it's like
Jerry Springer.
Really? Yeah, Springer was the mayor of Cincinnati. Before he was a television star. Yeah, he was a successful mayor of the city of Cincinnati before he was a television star. So he is a politician,
Right.
But I don't think he would win. Oh, who else said he's running is the Rock.
Yeah,
Dwayne
the Rock.
Johnson.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't
know either. Because here's my opinion on that now. The people that end up say we go the 4 years.
Do you know how long The Rock was a Republican?
Oh, he was Republican his whole life.
Yeah, now he's going to be a Democrat.
He never said he was going to switch. I don't think he said anything yet onto what party. But you know what? If you want to say that, Trump was a Democrat up until he decided to run for president.
Yeah. He didn't see an avenue in the Democratic Party.
No,
he didn't have it. No,
because he knew he would lose the primary to Hillary Clinton because it was rigged. He knew nobody was going to beat Clinton to get to the presidential election.
No matter what.
Right. Yeah. And then he saw the guys on the Republican side, and he's like, "This is a bunch of retards, man. These are dumb ass people," and most of them were. Most of the Republican candidates, I'm not saying all, because a couple of them were really good candidates, but Trump just slammed them. And I think people were just finally excited for a candidate to say what at least they were thinking.
Yeah, instead of telling us what they thought we wanted to hear. That's that's all it is in a nutshell.
That's why he won, because he would say something, I'd be like, God damn it, he's right.
Yeah. And you know what? He didn't pull his punches. He didn't pull any fucking punches. He said, "No, you're a fucking loser, man. Mm-hmm. This is what you did, this is what you did, and this was what you did. See you, dude. You're out of here. You're done. Mm-hmm. You're fired." And that's the kind of president that we needed. And I think that we got the president we wanted. And I'm not boasting for fucking Donald Trump. And like you said, I don't think he's going to be the best president ever. I don't think I think he's going to make the changes that need to be made. The problem is are we going to end up going right back to what we had before him?
Right. Well, you know what? You can't say nobody in the world can say this one individual was the best president ever, because every president does, not every president, but presidents do great things
for their time,
right? And they do great things while they're there, but then they also do some shitty things while they're there. Because why? Because they're human beings. Okay, we're not. It's right. Yeah. So even Nixon had the greatest freaking foreign policies. We were friends with everybody, but then he fucked up Watergate. It was like he was an awesome president. But if that fucked up, Same thing. Then you got presidents like Jimmy Carter, who I don't know what the fuck Jimmy Carter did. Do you?
Jimmy Carter, the Iran crashes.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, he wasn't a very notable president, in my
What he
opinion.
got accomplished, you mean? Oh, he
Yeah.
expanded our welfare system.
Oh, good. Yay!
Yeah, he expanded the welfare system. Oh, and he gave us 55-mile-an-hour speed limit for 22 years.
Well, that's cool, I guess. Wait a
not
minute.
really.
No,
Not
it was
really.
65, right? Before, no.
Yeah, no, it was 65 before that, and then they took it down to 55. And then in some areas, and threatened to take money out of the pockets of states that didn't cooperate.
Well,
So
that's
instead
bullshit.
of taking 14 hours to get from St. Louis to L.A., or 20, instead of taking 18 hours to get to L.A. from St. Louis, it now took 29 hours to get to L.A. from there. No, without getting a ticket.
It would take me a fucking week.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, it would take me a week to drive to L.A.
It would take you that long to drive to L.A., really?
From Buffalo, New York to Los Angeles, California? Yeah, dude, that would take hell. That's from one end of the United States to the other.
You're 18 hours from me. So
then
add another.
No, really?
Yeah, you're 18 hours. If you got in a car and started driving right now, you would be here, I don't know, tomorrow at about 6 o'clock in the evening.
I don't know about that because it took me like 12 hours to drive from here to Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay, and how far is Virginia to Missouri?
Virginia to Missouri is about 10 hours.
Right, so that's 22 hours right there.
No, because it's a different way. You're doing it wrong.
Listen, you're killing me, Smalls. Listen, how long would it take? And we're going to check this out.
Louis, Buffalo to St. Louis. Cheapest flights. I don't want to know that. Map.
Yeah, no, I think you're wrong. I think it would take me quite a long time, because it would. Okay, it would take, you're right, dude, 38 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah. 38 hours to L.A. You wouldn't do it all in one trip, but it would take you a week.
I know.
It'd take you about 3 days. It'd take you about,
sure.
With your stops, and you have to stop for gas, hotel. But it would never take you a week. It would only take you a day and a half. It'd only take you a day to get here. I mean, you could once you get through Cincinnati or Cleveland, it's a straight fucking shot, man.
Well, you know what? That's
fucking Indianapolis.
Can you imagine
Indianapolis, Illinois, St. Louis?
I'd kill somebody being in the car for 38 fucking hours.
Oh, yeah.
I would punch somebody in the face just to get some aggression out if I had to sit in the car for 38 hours.
Oh, yeah. Well, just look at, what's his name? Sparky from Vacation. He punched the moose right in the nose.
Yeah. And he also shot John Candy in the ass with a BB gun.
He was pissed.
Well,
no,
one of the greatest movies
we're
of all
going.
time.
We're going on the Screaming Mimi.
Well, yeah, that was definitely one of the greatest comedy classics of all time. Of any generation.
Yep.
I watch comedies today, and some of them I laugh at, but the only comedy that I've seen in the past 20 years that I could say is on the same level as a classic like The Jerk or like Vacation would be Anchorman, the first one with Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
That to me is one of the funniest comedies I've seen in a long time. My favorite comedy of all time is The Jerk with Steve Martin. That there's nothing to me that's funnier.
Oh yeah, that was a classic. That is
that is my funniest, my favorite comedy of all time. I just love it, and the fact that thinks he's black makes me it just drives me insane. It's so fucking funny he's got no rhythm, and it's just hilarious. The whole thing is funny, and my favorite part in the whole movie is when the dude was shooting at him, and he's like, he hates these cans. I don't know why that's so funny to me, but every time I see it, a Navy Johnson in our life, man.
Oh yeah, one of the funniest movies I ever saw that never got the credit it deserved was Grumpy Old Men.
Grumpy Old Men is a freaking hilarious movie. I
That's
love
one of
that.
the funniest fucking movies ever. I mean, you
Yeah.
schmuck. Why don't you do the world a favor? Pull your lip over your head and swallow. I mean, come on.
You know who I thought was the funniest in that movie was Burgess Meredith.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
he was the
yeah.
father.
Yeah,
I wish
yeah.
to God he didn't pass away for the second one, because the dirty shit that came out of his mouth was just like hilarious.
Just hilarious.
Yeah, I love that.
It looks like he's going in to hide salami.
Yeah, I mean, he was so excellent. You know what? That reminds me of one of my favorite sitcoms of all time, and that's The Golden Girls.
The Golden Girls? You like that?
The Golden Girls. I can love The Golden Girls, man. Betty White and B. Arthur not B. Arthur, but Betty White and Estelle Getty were the two funniest people on television then, I think.
Right.
Betty White can make you laugh.
Right.
I mean, she's probably one of the greatest comedians, or whatever how you say it, of all time, I think, next to maybe Lucille Ball or I don't know, but those are two funny ladies. I mean, who's funnier than them two?
No, they are very funny. They were very funny women.
Yeah.
Betty White was just hilarious. Mary Tyler Moore.
Mary Tyler Moore wasn't funny.
Oh, her show was hilarious. Oh,
Dude,
if you've never watched and sat down and watched Mary Tyler Moore, when Sacco the Clown died.
Yeah, but no, she personally was not funny.
Yeah, I beg to differ. I think she was
a hot woman that got a show.
I had a crush on her.
Well, of course you
But
did.
the Mary
Everybody
Tyler
did.
Moore show, the second one where she was on working for the TV station.
Lou Grant. Or no, that
Lou
was
Grant.
Yeah.
Yeah, hilarious. Fucking hilarious.
I don't think so. I used to watch the reruns of that, and I'd be like, yeah, this is so stupid. But you know what show I used to like when I was younger and watched the reruns was One Day at a Time. I thought Bonnie Franklin was pretty funny.
Right.
You know, she was funny. And Schneider, yeah, that reminds me of my wife's white father.
Yeah.
She's got, so yeah, that's how we got to decide my wife's father's the white father, the Hispanic father, the second Hispanic father, the third Hispanic father, Polish stepdad.
Did she marry all those people, really?
Where to you, man? She married all those people. Yep.
Wow.
And she's getting married again.
I know a lady who was married several times. A friend of mine's mom. And she was married like 5 or 6 times. She even married a gay man once. And didn't know he was gay. She didn't know he was gay.
Obviously, he wasn't full blown. He wasn't full blown gay. If she married him, I'm sure they had sex.
Well, I'm sure they did too. But I mean, he left her, and when he left her for another man. And
Not
I said,
another
what?
man. Yeah. When a man loves a man,
it's okay for men to get engaged.
He's rock hard in my hand. Yeah.
Yeah. He gives me salty nuts.
Sweaty balls.
Sweaty balls.
Sweaty balls. One of the greatest Saturday Night skits ever. You would like my tasty sweaty balls. That was one of the best ever skits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Funny as hell. Funny movies. Yeah. Funny movies.
Hey, you remember you watching the old cartoons, like the Disney cartoons?
Yeah.
What car did Mickey's wife drive? What kind of car did Mickey's wife drive?
Mickey who? Mickey Mouse?
What kind of car did Mickey Mouse's wife drive?
I'm not sure.
A minivan.
Oh, a minivan. Well, they weren't married.
Yes, they were, weren't they?
They were not married. They never got married. What do you want, drugs? They never got married.
Yes, they were. They had a baby, didn't they?
No. No, man, no. Do you know why Mickey left? Do you know why Mickey left Minnie? She was fucking goofy.
Yeah, that's lame as fuck, dude.
Who's the leader of the pack? Made for you and me.
I bet you had a crush on Annette Funicello. You wanted to boff her.
I wanted to fuck her like there was no tomorrow. I laid on the floor and humped the floor while I watched her movies.
You laid on the floor and humped the
It's a little sick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hello?
At least I watched Britney Spears was
Oh, did you masturbate to Britney Spears?
only once.
Only once? Come on, be honest.
Oh,
Don't
God.
lie. Don't lie. Come on.
I don't remember how many times.
You know who I thought was hot when I was younger?
Who?
Liz Taylor.
Liz Taylor.
Oh, God.
When I was
fucking
Liz
phenomenal.
Taylor was already an old woman, so.
Yeah, well.
Actually, my like a woman who I thought was sexy in the old days, and you might laugh, but Debbie Reynolds, man. When Debbie Reynolds, when she was in Singing in the Rain and that,
yeah.
Like not Debbie Reynolds, old Debbie Reynolds, but that Debbie. Like I still, like you say, you still do Cher now. No, I still wouldn't do Debbie Reynolds now. She's
right.
an old woman, but back then she was kind of hot, and so was Anne Margaret. Anne Margaret was beautiful, and Samantha from Bewitched.
Yeah. Elizabeth Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth Montgomery. Very hottie. Very hottie. Oh, another one back in the day that I really got off on, and she was the wife of Michael Landon on Little House on the Prairie.
You thought Mrs. Ingalls was hot?
I thought she was fucking cute. No question.
Wow.
No question. I thought she was adorable.
When did you start wearing glasses?
Oh, I didn't start wearing glasses until later on in life. I mean, I didn't watch the show for the show's sake. Yeah. I watched the show.
Her name was Carolyn something. I don't remember her last name. It was Carolyn Jones. It was Carolyn. Oh, that was from Carolyn Jones.
There's another one. What's her name on the Partridge Family?
Oh, Mrs. Partridge. Yeah, I had a crush on her too.
I had a thing for her.
Yeah, Shirley Jones.
And her daughter, Susan Day.
Yeah.
I thought she was fucking hot. She was fucking something else.
Even though you were a fucking old man then.
No, I wasn't really, man. I was about her age. When Partridge Family came out, when did Partridge Family come out?
Early 70s. I don't remember. 71, 70s
or what? No, let's find out. We got to find out. The Partridge
was the early 70s? Mm-hmm. Her name was Karen Grassel.
Mrs. Ingalls. Mrs. Ingalls. Yes, she was hot.
She was not hot.
I thought 1970 to 1974.
That's the early 70s.
So I was still a teenager, and so was Susan Day.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't an old pervert.
She was like 13, you perv.
14, but who cares?
Let's see. Let's see how old she was. Because right here, Susan Day is now, she's 64.
She's 64. She's older than I am. She was
older than you are.
She was older than I was then. She was 4 years older than me. And let's see, in 1970, let's go back, 1957 to 67. So I was only
like 28, or I mean, I was
13. I was 13. She was 17.
It's like 17, 18 when she started. Yeah.
Yeah.
In that show. But you know what? I fucking, I was born in 74. But then I watched the Partridge Family later on in life, and I freaking loved the Partridge Family when I was young. Dude, I am not kidding you. I thought that they were one of the greatest in the world. I really did.
Oh,
and I still listen to them.
Nothing like family.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like family.
I think I'm gonna do a show one week, and it's just gonna be, I'm gonna recreate a Partridge Family episode with the music and everything. I'll play, Danny. My wife can play the mother.
Yeah.
And my kids can play the other one. My little one can be Danny Bonaducci. So
now, okay. So what we're gonna do next week is we're going to do what's called a Sweet 16. You and
A
I,
Sweet 16.
yeah, if we have a guest, each of us will have to pick out sitcoms that we thought were great. And then we'll name them off and we'll put them on a list, and then we'll go one show against another, and we'll all vote on it.
Okay. But anyways, let's do it. Whatever. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, hey, it'll eat up about 45 minutes of the show.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Here, I'll pick, another show that I thought was very innovative for its time and actually pretty funny. And I think they only did 1 or 2 seasons. That was The Honeymooners.
Oh, The Honeymooners was fucking phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. It was very innovative for its time.
And I Love Lucy.
I Love Lucy was too. And so was another show that came out in the 70s that I absolutely loved was Three's Company.
Three's Company. Very good show. Another good show. Yeah. Very cool. And I liked, I used to watch Petticoat Junction, and I watched...
Petticoat Junction?
Yep.
Were you gay back then?
No.
Did you watch the Waltons too?
Oh, fuck no, man. And then the spin-off from that was Green Acres. And
I like Green Acres.
Green Acres was other Mr. Douglas, if I got a deal for you.
No, I like Green Acres. But see, you got to remember, when you were, I was born in a different generation than you, so those shows were just like reruns for me. Like, my shows were, that were on when I was watching, like, comedies would be like, like maybe Roseanne or, Tool Time, Home Improvement, The Cosby.
Tool Time, they came on when I was an adult.
Right, and that's where the 90s, when I was 80s and 90s, when I was watching TV. Like, I used to watch Mr. Belvedere all the time in the 80s. What the hell is that one?
My dad's favorite TV show was Bonanza.
Everybody's dad's favorite TV show is Bonanza.
Bonanza and Combat with Vic
Combat.
Morrow. Yeah, it was a television show about
Vic Morrow. Yeah,
with Vic Morrow, and it was a phenomenal show.
I think it's my mom, who is actually, she's your age, she'll be 60 in August. His favorite show is fucking Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke, yeah.
Dude, that show's, I know you were going to say you liked it. But you know what? One of the guys that I really identified a lot with, but actually liked him in every show he was in was Lee Majors. I did love The $6 Million Man and The Fall Guy. And I thought he was cool. He was around for my generation. Chips, that was my decade, my generation. Remember Chips?
Yeah.
The A-Team. Shows like that, that's what I watched. I watched a lot of, with my mom growing up, we watched a lot of different shows. We watched like Dallas and the Dukes of Hazzard and, Miami Vice and one of the Hunter. Remember Hunter with Fred Dreyer?
Yeah.
That so I watched a lot of different shows, but the 70s comedies were always on reruns for me, so I got to watch all the 70s comedies too, like Good Times and Give Me a Break.
Yeah.
And that shit. So
when you go back to the TV show Combat, and I'm going to go back here only for a second, only because I've seen some people on here that I think that you're going to really freak out on. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Now, Vic Morrow and what the hell was his name? Vic Morrow and Rick Jason.
Rick Jason.
Yeah, Rick Jason were the stars of the show. Okay. But here are some of the actors, guest stars.
Yeah.
Lee Marvin.
Cool.
Robert Duvall. James Coburn. Bill Bixby. Dwayne Hickman. Kelly Savalas. Let's see, who else? Eddie Albert. Terry Carter. Ben Cooper. Frankie Avalon.
Yeah, but you know what? You could
Sal
say that about
Mineo.
any show. Nobody fucking knows who Sal Mineo is, dude.
Roddy
Shut up.
McDowell.
But you can say that about any show. Look at from that time, like the Twilight Zone. Leslie Nielsen was in it, and William Shatner, and all those people.
Yeah, those were great shows. William Smithers was in this show. Dean Stockwell, Jack Lord.
Those were the kind of shows, especially like the Twilight Zone, the Outer Limits, where there was no stars at all.
Right.
The stars were different each week.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and I like those kind of shows because, you know, I do like shows where you got the same characters, but then, you know, because you get attached to a character and that's your character through the whole series, you know, and but then again, there's those shows that where I do like those shows where, like, one of my favorite shows was Simon and Simon. You know, there was them were the two constant. They were the only two on every single episode, but then there was all these famous guest stars where they weren't famous then, but they became famous later on. So that was a lot of TV then. Like, people now go back to TV, like older stars. TV is different than it used to be. But I think in the 60s, 50s, 70s, 80s, you didn't do TV if you were a movie star. You did TV maybe before you became a movie star.
Right.
But then as soon as you became a movie star, TV was like going backwards.
Right.
You know, but now it's different because a lot of big name people are on television.
That's true.
You know, and that's
true. A lot of people that didn't do nothing,
right?
Are now doing productions and producing and all that great stuff.
Well, you know what gets me is like when people say, "I'm leaving the show after 12 years because I just time to move on. I want to do other things," and then you never hear from them again. Yeah. You know, and that's what happens a lot, where they leave a show because they don't want to be typecast as that character, but then they never get a show again. Like Tim Allen, he did, you know, Home Improvement. He left that show to do movies, and he's back on television again as I forgot that Last Man Standing.
Last Man Standing, and his show just got canceled.
I know the show just got canceled. That's whole Last Man Standing. That's terrible because I really like that show. And he was one of the first people, and he still is one of the only celebrities that is against the liberalism and the fucking, Democrats and stuff like that. And he's was really out on his own with that because no other people would dare to be like that, you know?
Right.
And his show was successful. I don't know why they canceled it. I love that show, actually.
Yeah, it was a great show. It shouldn't have been canceled.
I loved his father. What was his father's name? Oh, God. He was always in a lot of other things.
I can't think of it. What's his fucking name?
Robert something, is it? Yeah, he was in tons of shows in like the 70s and shit. And, here it is. Let's see. No. But did they say why they canceled the show?
No, they just said it just didn't fare well. It didn't fare well. So,
I always thought it was doing really good. That sucks.
Yeah, and it was doing really good.
Robert Forster.
Robert Forster, okay.
Yeah. That's who played his dad. I liked him. And his brother was Mike Rowe, remember?
Yeah, Mike Rowe. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, but so they did 6 seasons. Well, good for him. You know, I always think Tim Allen's funny. I think he's funny in the short term. Like, he's a better television actor than a better movie actor. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that because television stars are making tons of money these days. You know, back in the old days, television people just got a check. Here's your day's work, or whatever. You know, and
right.
You didn't get residuals, you didn't get royalties or nothing. Here's your week's paycheck. You're done.
You're done,
right?
Like
the Brady kids don't make any money from the Brady Bunch at all.
Right,
anytime you watch the Brady Bunch or anytime you buy a Brady Bunch merchandise, Sherwood Schwartz gets all that money, not any of the Brady kids, because there was nobody realized that there was going to be a market for reruns in the future.
That's true.
Why would somebody want to watch an old show? It's old.
It's old. Well, they get syndicated. I mean, look how long MASH has run as a television.
MASH ran longer off the air than on the air.
Yeah, I mean, it has run so long, and it's still running today. And I'll look at it to see what year the show was made. You know, when I'm watching one of the programs, and I'll look at it and I'll say, "God damn, 1972! Stop it!"
Yeah,
and they were sense.
They were innovative for their time. You know, another one that used to be on all the time was Taxi. Remember Taxi?
Taxi, yeah. Taxi was on syndication for a long time.
Yeah.
Taxi was good. And then you've got shows like That 70s Show. Still in syndication.
That 70s show. it will be. See, that's what happens though. It's like in the 80s. People were watching the shows from the 70s and 60s and 90s. They were watching the shows from the 80s and the 70s. And, it's go like a 20-year thing. Right now they're not running Fathers Knows Best anymore or the Danny Thomas show. True. But in the 70s and early 80s, you could see that stuff on TV.
Right.
And my Favorite Martian, all that stuff. And then now you see like the 70s show and you'll see Friends and the Seinfeld and, all that stuff on reruns.
True. That's true.
Which is good. It's good because it gives the new generation a chance to see what their parents watched, and sometimes your kids get into the shows that you watched, and then maybe they realize you're not so different.
That's true.
Yeah, but because I used to watch with my dad. Not like I had a fucking choice, but I would watch, I Love Lucy with him and The Honeymooners and all that stuff. My father was weird though. He liked to watch shows from when he was born and when he was a real young child, instead of the stuff that you watched when you knew what the hell was going on.
Right.
Like he liked Leave It to Beaver and stuff like that. But he was born in 1951, so he was like 7 or 6 or 5 when that shit was coming on.
True.
So I thought he would have been more. One of his favorite shows, though, probably of all time, I remember watching with him as a young kid, was All in the Family. And
All in the Family, yeah.
Yeah, and I tell you what, anytime I watch All in the Family, I laugh. I don't care how old I am. I don't care how old the show is. It makes me laugh.
Such an ass.
Yeah. It makes me laugh every freaking time I see that show. And there's not many shows out there that I can say watch for 50 years almost and still laugh at it.
Right.
Oh, speaking of 50 years, bro, 50 years it's been since Sgt. Pepper taught his band to play, man.
Yeah.
Oh, to be 70 years because it was 20 years ago when he taught them then.
Yeah, it was 70 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. And it was 50 years ago Billy Shears sang out of tune, and nobody got up and walked out, did they?
And so now, 50 years ago, one of the most iconic albums of all time gets released. I was nowhere near around that time, but do you remember when that album came out? Or were you too young at that time?
No, I wasn't too young at that. 50 years ago, I was 10 years old, and I guess it was 1967.
Yeah.
And the Vietnam War was taking off. They were sending more troops over. In 1967, my brother joined the Navy, and it was a prerequisite of his to do that before the draft, because they were just talking about a draft. And he said, "That's it, I'm out of here." So
was that the Emerald King, or is that your other brother?
No, that's my oldest brother. He's my half brother, actually. He's my dad's son.
Okay.
So it was. There was a lot going on in 1967. I believe that there were riots in L.A. in 1967, the Watts riots, and see, lots of things happened in 67.
Well, it was also the Summer of Love, 1967.
1967, Summer of Love. We're almost there now with that. Sgt. Pepper had a lot going for it, mainly because it was after they did. Rubber Soul. Right. And Rubber Soul was a turning point, along with Revolver. They both came out.
Revolver, right?
Together.
Well, the transition
happened with Revolver.
Happened with those, because what happened is prior to Rubber Soul, they were still, making singles, so to speak. Starting on Rubber Soul was the first kind of album they did where everything kind of fit together. And then Revolver, they took it one step further. And then on Sgt. Pepper's, they mastered that, where each song, not an opera, not a rock opera, but where each song kind of transcends into the next song.
That's true.
And they got they crafted it and started with Rubber Soul, like you said, moved into Revolver, which Revolver was a weird album to me. Okay.
Yeah, it didn't.
Oh no, but that's what they were doing. They were trying to find it. They started on Rubber Soul, which is, is my favorite Beatles album of all time. Yeah, hands down.
That and Revolver are my favorites.
Yeah, but Revolver was different. It was off the cusp. It was a little edgier, and then they went to pure psychedelic sound on Sgt. Pepper's.
On Sergeant Pepper, and
Right.
that was, and and it shows in their videos from that too.
It
You
does.
know, it shows in the video from that, and then
I think
also
that's when
on
their
Magical Mystery Tour.
Their drug usage got heavier around that time. I think. I think they were smoking the weed all along, but I think right around like Revolver, Rubber Soul to Sgt. Pepper's is when they started, using LSD and other things like that.
LSD became really prevalent during the Magical Mystery Tour and the subsequent movie. They're tripping on acid for that movie.
Sure,
That's a solid trip. If you folks out there listening, if you've never seen the movie, now you've all seen at least parts of Hard Day's Night. You've seen parts of Help. But if you sit down and watch the entire movie of Magical Mystery Tour, that's a trip, guys.
It is.
Pink Floyd has nothing on this movie. I mean, the Wall doesn't even come close to that movie.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people will argue that point, but we'll take that in another show. But I wanted to go back to the Sgt. Pepper's album and explain really how iconic the album was. And this was at a time when rock music never got any accolades from the press or from awards or whatever. But in 1968, it won 4 Grammys, including Album of the Year, which was the first time a rock band ever won Album of the Year.
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
So that right there, for their contemporary press and critics to accept them, was really saying that this is really a good album. We can't even bash this because it's good.
Yeah.
And it also really opened up a lot of people's mind musically. There's no denying that Paul McCartney is on the record saying that the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds was the last thing that he needed to hear to get where he needed to go. They came from out of Revolver, and they were trying to decide what direction to go. When he heard how well crafted Pet Sounds was, he said, that's what we need, a masterpiece, not just some songs in the studio. We need a sonic experience that just moves everybody. And they did,
It did. It ruined their ability to go on tour, though, I think.
Sure, because it was too perfect.
Yeah,
like,
they could never, with all the screaming girls and shit, they could never duplicate the sound. Now, today they could.
Well, yeah,
with,
back
with
then,
what they have today.
Even back then, if they didn't have the screaming girls, they wouldn't have been able to do it because of the orchestrations and the weird sounds and
everything had to be perfect, and that's how
they could throw the MP3 background track on, for Christ's sakes, and do it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say, if you never listened to the Beatles, I don't know where you've been, but Sgt. Pepper's is a good album to start with because it's got not so much of their big number one hits, because Sgt. Pepper's was an album where they didn't really release a lot of singles for the first time, where the Beatles were always a single-oriented band, But this one they wanted to do. I don't even want to call it a concept album because it is a concept album.
Yeah.
It is a concept album, and some of the songs on here, The Benefit of Mr. Kite,
my favorite,
great
off this album. What's
lovely,
your favorite song off of this album?
Off of this album, it would have to be. It's kind of a tie for me, but if I had to pick just one, it'd be A Day in the Life.
A Day in the Life, yeah. Yeah, I love being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite, mainly because it showed a almost nostalgic,
sure,
brought it into psychedelic sound. And
sure, it did.
Because if you listen in the background, you can hear things that you're not normally supposed to hear, especially on their redone album. There's a lot of different sounds in that song. A Day in the Life is cool. Okay, woke up, fell out of bed, drank a comb across my head.
I love that song.
Went downstairs to have a cup.
Right.
So lit up a smoke, and somebody spoke, and I went into a dream. Fuck them.
I like the song because now we know how many hoes really fill the Albert Hall.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I love to turn you on, man.
Right. And now, did you ever like the 1978 movie Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band?
No, I hated it.
You hated it. Okay.
I hated it.
That's because you're a Beatles purist. You're a Beatles fan.
Yes.
You like Beatles music done by the Beatles.
I would never go see a Beatles tribute band.
Right.
live.
Well, that's the same way how I am with Elvis, because I don't like Elvis tributes or Elvis impersonators because they're not Elvis, but you're right. So I know how you feel, but I happen to really like that movie. Yeah. Maybe because I was 4 years old when it came out and I see it as a child and it was kind of goofy and kind of childlike.
George Burns singing,
Mr. Kite.
Mr. Kite. Mm-hmm. For the benefit of Mr. Kite, there will be a show tonight.
And he's fixing a hole. I'm fixing a hole.
The rain gets it. It stops my
But
mind
I'll tell you what,
the
point of why I was bringing it up, of why about that movie. The Long and Winding Road, which is not on this album, but it was in that movie, I think is Peter Frampton's best song ever.
Yeah, that's his best cover he's ever done. I'll tell you that. Yeah,
it's so great, and he really did justice to the song. He didn't, do it horribly or fuck it up. He did that song justice, and I think that's one of the better Beatles covers of all time. Right next to Aerosmith's "Come Together," which is phenomenal.
I think the best cover of a Beatles song ever done was actually with a little help from my friends,
Joe Cocker,
Mr. Joe Cocker.
What about "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds" by Elton John in '75?
Oh, well, a better version version is William Shatner.
Yeah, no. no.
Lucy
but
in the Sky
I think the Beatles
with diamonds
are one of the most covered bands ever. I think more of their songs have been done by other artists than any other band in history. Next, maybe Bob Dylan has a lot too, because Bob Dylan songs. Bob Dylan is funny because Bob Dylan songs are always better by somebody else.
Yeah, I don't know why. And he did a couple of covers himself.
He did, but listen to "All Along the Watchtower" by Bob Dylan. You would say, yeah, there's nothing. This song's okay. But Jimi Hendrix heard that song and had a revelation and made the greatest rock song of all time out of it.
Oh yeah, well, Jimi Hendrix also had a lot of help in the studio with that song. I mean, he had guys like Dave Mason and Jim Capaldi in the studio with him doing that song.
But hands down, that song is his best. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, absolutely, one of his best. One of his very best. I'm not gonna say it's his best, but I think it's one of his best. And also, I mean, Dave Mason's version on acoustic guitar is just like by far one of the greatest ever.
You're a Dave Mason fan, aren't you?
I like Dave Mason a lot.
Did you like him because of Traffic, or?
Yeah, that's when I started to enjoy him, and then I saw him live and in concert back in 1978 on his own, and I just said, this guy's fucking phenomenal.
He owned a record company.
Yeah.
Blue Thumb, I think it was, or something.
Yeah, a lot of them do, though. They own their own. Because nobody else will give them a contract.
His was pretty
Steve
successful.
Miller. Steve Miller did, too.
Yeah, but his was pretty, for a little bit, it was pretty, he had, I forgot some of the people he had on there, like Jerry Rafferty was on Blue.
Rafferty, and he did an album with, what's his name? Peter Frampton. He also he did another production. Of course, the Beatles. I mean, in their own right, they produced so many different Badfinger. Right. They even Apple Records did a. Oh God damn it! Aerosmith. They did Apple Records did an Aerosmith album. So
Apple also did the first James Taylor album.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And the first Eagles record was done on Apple label. So the Beatles brought more than just their music. They brought in a lot of music. And 3 of the songs that Badfinger made famous were written by Paul and John.
Right.
That never made it onto the Revolver album.
Well, they also wrote
one rejection. One was rejected on Revolver, and the other 2 were rejected off of Let It Be.
And they also wrote for Chad and Jeremy, too.
That too.
What the hell was the name of that song? Trees blowing in the summer breeze.
Yeah.
World Without Love.
World Without Love. That's right.
Yeah. Because Paul McCartney's sister, Paul McCartney was dating one of their sisters.
And wrote him
at the time. and wrote him a song. And they also did a couple songs for the Stones. Did one. I want to be your man.
Yeah.
The Stones did. A lot of bands did. Contemporary. Yeah. Elvis did Elvis's version, live version of Something by George Harrison.
A great
really
song. Good. A great song was Honky Tonk Woman was done by Humble Pie, and it was fucking phenomenal. It got 0 rating, but it was a great tune.
Did you ever hear the original version of Honky Tonk Woman, Country Honk, on Let It Bleed album?
Let It Bleed, yeah.
Yeah, it was acoustically done,
done.
And then they, the following year, they released this single. It was Honky Tonk Woman. It was the same song, but they just rocked it out instead of doing it like a
made it electrified
country thing.
They fried it. They electrified
it. And the Stones are on tour again, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they are. I thought, them guys, man, I don't know how they do it. I got to be honest with you, man. I don't know how they do it. Even guys like Paul McCartney, these guys are iconic. And they don't get into the politics. You ever notice that? Paul McCartney, the fucking, this guy, the Rolling Stones, Mick and the Boys, they never get political.
They never did, though. Ever. They never did.
The whole time. Right. What is with these guys today that's getting all fucking political?
Not all the guys today, because, Roger Waters was always political. Roger Waters, from the Pink Floyd, always was vocal about what he believed in all through his whole career. And there's other artists out there like that. It's just these ones that just were in it for the music, strictly like the Stones and the Beatles, who got into music because they liked music. They didn't want to be politicians or whatever. Your music. Stick to what you know. If you want to fucking be a politician, then go be one.
Run for office, but don't fucking get up there and tell me that because I tell you what, Roger Waters got some very bad reviews here in doing the St. Louis show.
Mm-hmm. Well, now that I found that out, that you told me that, I will definitely not go see. You know what? I'm not a Roger Waters. I'm a Pink Floyd fan. And actually, Roger Waters kind of aggravates me because he's such a prima donna. I'm more of a David Gilmour fan anyways.
Right.
I like the way he plays guitar. I like the way he sings. So,
but I wouldn't even go see David Gilmour if he did a reunion with him.
Well, might if it was the original Pink Floyd, I would definitely go, but I'm not going to go to see Rogers on his own, because I mean I only would go to the original Pink Floyd because I've never seen them at all.
Right.
And I'd like to. Unfortunately, Richard Wright wouldn't be able to make it, but
right.
The rest of the three are there. So I would love to see that, actually. You know what I would love to see is for Richie Blackmore to go back to Deep Purple for a tour. I would love to go see the original Deep Purple back together.
Yeah, that would be a great show.
Yeah,
or even the original Humble Pie. I mean, with Peter Frampton and. But of course, you couldn't have Lonesome Dave. Yeah, he's gone now.
Yeah, Steve Marriott's gone, and that's pretty much that's Humble Pie.
Yeah, that's true. Unfortunately,
it's funny because Humble Pie was, when they first started out, it was a dual thing. It was Peter Frampton and Steve Marriott, and when he left, when Peter Frampton left, Steve Marriott took over, and that's when they became more rockin'. Is when Peter Frampton left. I mean, their biggest album, Smokin', was not with Peter Frampton.
No, he was already off of there. I went to see the last concert that Humble Pie ever did with Peter Frampton.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great show, of course.
Yeah, but you know what? He knew that wasn't his cup of tea. He didn't want to be that kind of rock. He didn't want to be the dirty, gritty rock. He wanted to be more of the mainstream pop rock. That's what he wanted to be, and he did. So I give him respect for that. He didn't stay with a band that he didn't feel like he was part of. Yeah, he wasn't part of it. And they did his songs and stuff, but they rocked him out more. He wasn't that. He was more of a production-wise, his stuff was perfect. I mean, there was no flaws in it. Where in the Humble Pie was more of a feel and a groove.
Right.
And we played that note wrong. That's okay. Don't worry about it. It sounds good. Where he was more of a technical guy, I think.
Right.
But I don't know. People will argue the point: who was better, Marriott or Frampton on guitar? And that's a tough call because they're both different and both great.
Right, that's true.
You know,
That's
I don't
very
think Marriott could do the mouth harp thing like Frampton. Nobody could do it.
true. Yeah, I know. Frampton was he was a lover boy. He was too handsome for humble pie.
Yeah, he was definitely a dude that women adored until he got older and lost all his hair.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was more of a sex symbol than for the '70s than Steve Marriott was. Steve Marriott was not. He was a rock guy. He was like the Keith Richards. I'm just here to play the music. You know, he didn't care about all that shit. But Frampton, they marketed him to be more on his looks than his ability, I think.
Right.
Yeah, because he was huge in the '70s. I mean, he was on television shows and movies and everywhere, you know. And when Frampton Comes Alive came out and blew up, he was a household name. And then it went away as quick as it came. He was like on top of the world for like 4 or 5 years, and then it just
Yep, that's true.
into obscurity. By 1982, he was playing in David Bowie's backup band. That's how bad his career fucking hit the wall. I mean, you're fucking selling out, you know, cocky arenas, and now you're backing up David Bowie in 5 years. So that had to be a pretty crushing blow to him. You know, I mean, that's not easy to handle. And it's a good thing that somebody like Peter Frampton had friends like David Bowie to keep him employed.
To keep him working, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a very lucky individual. He really was.
Yeah, and he got his career back. He's on the circuit now, touring. You know.
Yeah, he's doing his thing now.
Good, but he's. Go ahead.
The last time I saw him, he was on that television show with who is that guy? Daryl Halton.
Live from Daryl's house.
Yeah, live from Daryl's house. And I seen him on there, and that was a great show. I enjoyed that immensely. And he always has great guys on there. Sammy Hagar has guys on his TV show too. So yeah, it's always interesting to watch where these guys' career end up. You know.
Speaking of Sammy Hagar, he's there's rumor mill out there that him and David Lee Roth, or him at least, is trying to get Van Halen to go on the road again with both of them.
With both of them?
Yeah.
Now I'd pay that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd pay that ticket. I'd pay for that ticket. I'd go see them both. I've already seen David Lee Roth. I never saw with Sammy.
Right.
Never saw him with Sammy.
It's a different experience altogether. It's I saw him just with David Lee Roth not too long ago, and I thought he sucked because he sucks now. He can't sing. But David Lee Roth does a different thing. He does more of a show, where Sammy Hagar is a better singer, and he does more of the singing thing. You know, David Lee Roth does a lot of gimmicks and stuff.
Right.
You know, so he changes his clothes, his outfits more than anything during the show.
Right.
You know, which kind of pissed me off. But you're not fucking Cher. Get out here and fucking sing, you know. And where Sammy Hagar does more of the sing, because Sammy Hagar is a good singer.
Right. Yeah.
And he's 70-some fucking years old.
Yeah, he can still belt them out.
Yeah, and he looks like he's about 48.
Yeah, he looks younger than he is.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. His birthday is in October, and I think he's going to be 69.
Yeah, but he doesn't look 69.
Yeah.
I mean, like Keith Richards, that bitch looks his age.
Right.
You know, and you know he doesn't look his age at all. Sammy Hagar has been out. Yeah, and people forget Sammy Hagar's first band was Montrose in the early 70s.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw him with Montrose.
Yeah.
Montrose, and it was a great show. And matter of fact, the same band we were just talking about was there too. It was Humble Pie and Wishbone Ash. Let's see, it's Wishbone Ash and Montrose, and then Humble Pie.
Where did Montrose come from? He came from a band, didn't he?
Ronnie Montrose. Where did he come from? I can't. Hang on, let me pull it up.
Yeah, but he did come from somewhere else. I mean, he wasn't just somebody that all of a sudden here's Ronnie Montrose. You know?
No, he wasn't.
I mean, he was a little guy too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he wasn't a very big person.
Oh, he was in the Edgar Winter Group.
Yeah, Edgar Winter Group. That was it.
Yeah, he was in the Edgar Winter Group, and he was actually the one that wrote Free Ride. He wrote your song.
Yeah, he wrote my song.
Yeah,
He played
he
with
was
Boss
uh,
Skaggs, Edgar Winter. He played with Gary Wright, who's in his own right. Gary Wright was in what band was he in? Let's see, before he went out on his own. Spooky Tooth. He
oh
was
yeah,
with
that's right.
Spooky
Yep,
Tooth,
yep, yep.
and he played with George Harrison, Ringo Starr, in his all star band. That's when I saw Gary Wright, and he
Right.
was Ronnie Montrose was an awesome guitarist. I mean, he wasn't a very big person, but
He was tiny.
he was tiny.
But so was the other guitar player that played with Edgar Winter, Rick Derringer.
Yeah. Oh, and there's also he played in a band called Gamma
Right.
after Montrose.
After Montrose, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, he was good.
But
Very good.
the original, like the band that Montrose was in with Edgar Winter had Dan Hartman. Remember Dan Hartman? He was the singer of that.
Yeah.
And then they were a good rock and roll band. I don't know why, he just left.
Yeah.
Just decided to leave one day. I don't know, because
Yeah.
that's when Rick Derringer came in, and Rick Derringer's another one of them small guys. He must have liked small guitar players,
Yeah. Well, Rick Derringer was a
He was
totally
a-
different guitarist than
Sure.
Ronnie Montrose. And
Well,
I think Edgar Winter's music showed that when he changed guitarists.
Right. Now, Rick Derringer, he played with both winners. He played with Johnny and Edgar. He also wrote Johnny's most famous song, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo.
Right.
And he was also in the band The McCoys, which had the hit Hang On Sloopy.
Hang on, Sloopy. Well,
Yeah.
see, it's amazing what they'll do. These
It
fucking
is.
rock and rollers.
And I think Rick Derringer's best album, remember All American Boy, man? He had, that was a good album. But, those guys in the 70s, there was a lot of guitar players that just really left bands that thought they were going to be something and never became nothing. Because like Ronnie Montrose, only really the first two Montrose albums did anything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The two with Sammy Hagar, they had Get on Your Bad Motor Scooter Ride, Rock Candy, Space Station Number
5, all that. Yeah.
And those were the years, and then it was kind of funny because then when Hagar left, he had a couple unsuccessful solo albums through the last part of the 70s, and then in the 80s, his solo albums started to pick up, and then he became Van Halen,
Right. Then he got in with Van Halen. I think his first two albums, Sammy's first two albums, were okay, but then 55 came out in the 70s, and I think that's what that inevitably propelled his career to new highs.
Oh, without a doubt, and he had a couple radio hits in the early 80s with like Your Love Is Driving Me Crazy, all that stuff.
Plain Jane was awesome.
Right. No, it's the first song. There's Only One Way to Rock, man. I love that song.
There's Only One Way to Rock, and then Heavy Metal. Heavy Metal came out with MTV. And so he had himself a good time. He really did.
Oh, sure. He's the guy is set for life. He's actually got more money than both Van Halen brothers together because of his investments that he made.
He made millions off the tequila deal.
Millions, and he's also now he's got his new rum company, which is up and going. I forgot the name of it, but it's some kind of a beach rum, and he has to be one of the most happiest rock stars ever. Anytime you see him, he's never like pissed off looking. He always looks like he's having a good time.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's right. Hey, listen, you want to take a quick break? Why don't we just present this the way it should be presented? And it's the 50th anniversary of an iconic album, which was one of the greatest achievements in music history, in rock history, from Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. This displays the artistry of John Lennon and Paul McCartney, and this is Fixin' a Hole. Yeah, you're fixing a hole where the rain gets in.
It
Great
always
stuff.
stops my mind from wondering, you know.
Yeah, it does. I'm fixing a hole where that rain came in, man.
Yeah,
Far fucking out.
man.
Great stuff, man. Great
It was
stuff.
good
The
stuff.
Beatles.
Definitely a great album. Not my favorite Beatles album, but
No,
definitely a great album.
definitely.
I
Yeah.
actually like. I would put that in my Beatles as maybe 4, or 5 even,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I
think,
like Rubber Soul better. Definitely, I like the White Album.
right. I like Abbey Road.
Love Abbey Road is probably one of the greatest albums ever, and I even like. I might be one of the few people that think Let It Be is a great album.
I think Let It Be's okay. I think it was a a last minute album.
Yeah.
Stuff that they wanted to get on the on tape and get
Right.
it done. And I think the production could have been a lot better.
Well, the production was marred by fights because it was not only was it the only album that they ever did not produced by George Martin. It was produced by what's his name, the convict that's in jail now that killed that girl. Oh God, the producer.
I know who you're talking about.
Phil Spector.
Phil Spector, right?
Yeah, and him and Paul McCartney fought over the production because Phil Spector wanted to do the orchestration type music in the Long and Winding Road, and he didn't want it to be that way. He wanted it to be more of an acoustic only piano thing. So they were fighting the whole time, and like you said, it wasn't an album where they all recorded together. By that time, they weren't even talking anymore.
No, they weren't. They weren't talking.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so it was a. I think that the greatest the greatest album was actually the what was it called? Where they oh golly
Yeah,
I
that
can't
one.
I can't think of the name of it. It had Free as a Bird on it. It was a TV
Anthology?
movie. Yeah, the anthology. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the anthology was one of the most well produced albums they ever did, mainly because they had to put together all this stuff they found in a fucking closet somewhere, and voice tracks and half tracks of songs where they would only have the guitar in there.
Right.
It was fascinating.
It is fascinating. All 3 of them were the anthology 1, 2, and 3, and the first 2 had a new song on it. But the thing that was cool about that was that it was mainly made for Beatles fans already, because it wasn't like an anthology where you're going to get the greatest hits.
Right.
You're getting some of them, but you were getting things that you probably never heard of in your life. So for a Beatles fan, that was great. But for somebody that just wanted to buy those because they wanted the hits of the Beatles, no, you got to go buy the Blue and the Red album.
The Blue and the Red album.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't know that. I mean, people they look at Beatles music and they say, it's the Beatles. No, it was the Beatles. Sorry, and say the name right.
How do you say it?
Beatles. It's Beatles. It's Beatles.
Yeah, nobody fucking says Beatles.
No, nobody. It's not the Beatles. It's the Beatles. And
nobody's going to say that. Though.
It's spelled B-E-A-T. Okay, Beatle is spelled B-E-T-T-L-E.
Not anymore, because now most people spell it B-E-A-T-L-E-S.
And that's because of who? Paul McCartney, John Lennon, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. Of the 4 Beatles, who's your favorite?
Well, see, that depends, okay? Because in the Beatles, my favorite was John Lennon.
Okay.
Out of the Beatles, my favorite was Paul McCartney.
Okay. My favorite in the Beatles was Paul McCartney. My favorite out of the Beatles was George Harrison.
Well, George Harrison is probably my second out of the Beatles favorite.
Yeah.
Because his All Things Must Pass album is one of the greatest albums ever made, I think. And he had a couple great albums after that. But then he went away, and in '87 came back with the #1 hit and a great album with Cloud 9. So he didn't lose his luster ever.
Right. He didn't lose his touch.
No, he didn't. And then when he went with the Traveling Wilburys, that was such a wonderful thing, man. The Traveling Wilburys was a treat, a musical fucking treat. They
It really
were
was, and they did it right too, man. They said, "That's it, we're done, no more."
Yeah, after Roy Orbison died, they're like, "We're not the Wilburys no more."
No, we're not gonna do it. And did you know that most of those 2 albums that they did were recorded in a garage?
Yeah,
Out
well,
in the
that
back.
all started because of a party George Harrison was having, and Tom Petty was there, and Jeff Lynne was there, and so was and Bob Dylan was there. And then they were talking about who they would love. That they all loved Roy Orbison. They all came to the conclusion that they loved Roy Orbison. So they said, "Let's call him." And they did, and he said okay, and they were shocked that he said okay.
Yeah.
And it was all because of a party George Harrison had in the '80s, and Stars. See, that's what happened. Stars.
That's awesome, man. That's
awesome. They probably were jamming that night and decided to make a band.
It's got to be a lot of fun. I mean, you guys getting together like that, and they were partying. They were having a good fucking time.
Sure.
And when you look at it, at some of the stuff that they put together, it was just awesome. Not fragile, handled with care. All of those songs were just phenomenal, and they told a story. It almost went back to the Beatles.
Yep.
It almost went back to the Beatles, where
that was because
that
was Jeff Lynne.
His
ELO
influence.
guy.
Oh yeah, he wasn't for the Beatles, Jeff Lynne would have had no career.
Oh no, he's definitely, and he's not ashamed to admit.
No,
that.
Absolutely not. Electric Light Orchestra was in the vein of the Beatles. You could almost say it was a spin-off from the Beatles. Definitely.
It was definitely one of the first strictly Beatles influenced bands. I mean, after that many bands came Beatles influenced, but the ELO was that first band that came out of the gate sounding just like the Beatles, and they came right when the Beatles ended, so it was perfect. So people that still like that Beatles-ish sound jumped on the ELO bandwagon right away.
Right, exactly, no question.
Yeah, so it was a perfect thing, and he produced the Free as a Bird, and he did it justice, man. He produced it just like George Martin would have produced it back in '70.
Yep. And they threw together so well. I mean, it was a John Lennon song that never got completed.
Right.
It was supposed to go on his following album after his last album.
Right. And if you listen to the demo of him just singing, because it's either on that album or I saw it on the net somewhere, it's not that good.
No,
they
it's
really
not.
Cleaned that up well.
They dolled it up really nice.
Yep. And justice too. They did it justice. It's not like you can't tell it's John Lennon singing. I mean, they did a good job on it.
That's true. Okay, well, we're about out of time.
Yeah, I'm like
I'm in shock.
Surprised.
We went a full 2 hours, just you and I, man.
Just shit and shit.
Just you and me, man. Yeah.
All we needed was a dog named Boo.
Yeah, we talked about all kinds of stuff. And I think it was an interesting show. We got to play some music and talk about some things that are close to our hearts. And,
you played a Beatles song, didn't you?
Yeah, I played Fixin' a Hole.
Yeah, this episode will be banned on YouTube, everybody, so just listen to it on Spreaker.
Aww. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Aww.
Beatles don't allow their music to be played, so...
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. If they ban it, they ban it. No big deal. Well, you can listen to it on here, and it'll be on our Facebook.
I'll still post it on Facebook, or on YouTube, and I'll just put the link to Spreaker in the comment section.
Yeah. So if you can't bring this up, here, just go to Spreaker. So, okay. Well, like I said, we're just about out of time. Thank you for putting on a great show. We want to thank all of y'all for listening. We're approaching 6,000 listens to our show. Please tell a friend about us here at the Conjugal Visit and our radio station, KGFRocks.com. Hey, it's been a pleasure, Guido. Thanks for...
It always is, man.
Yeah, it was good. And it felt really good to talk for a while, man. We haven't talked in a while. So anyway, thank you so much. You have a good night. Guido, say good night.
Good night, Guido.
Good night, Guido. See ya. Bye-bye.
Later.
It's Sunday night, and this is the Conjugal Visit on KGFRocks.com.